Good morning, everyone, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today. My name is Pietru Odendaal, and I am the head of the School of Financial Planning and Insurance. Welcome. You have been invited to this session today as you have completed a qualification in our school within the past 2 years. Firstly, congratulations on that. I have been a part-time student myself for more than 10 years, and I know the rigors and commitment it takes to work full-time and study. You can be very proud of yourself. At Millpark, we are passionate about lifelong learning and professionalizing the financial services industry. We would therefore like to take this opportunity to explain the options you have as a Millpark graduate in order to further your studies in short-term insurance with us. In today's information session, Marissa will explain the options you have in terms of the qualifications we offer. She will then hand over to Tracy, our senior program manager, to explain the nuances of the modules and the important deadlines you need to consider. Thereafter, Mzwandile from our sales team will take you through the Millpark website to show you a step-by-step of how the online application process works. We will end off the session with a very special guest. We have a Millpark alumnus and soon-to-be two-time graduate with us today, Josie. He will be talking to you about his experience as a student on the BCom with a major in short-term insurance. Throughout the session, if you have any questions, please post them on the chat on the right-hand side of your screen. You can also add your questions by clicking on the Ask a Question at the bottom right-hand side corner of your screen. Tracy will answer your questions throughout the session, and then we will also take the rest of the questions at the end. As a special offer to you, our graduates, we are waiving the admission fee for any qualification within the school between now and 1 July 2022. That means free admission onto your next qualification. The important dates to consider in terms of the close of admission will be listed on the screen and are also available on our website. When you apply, simply mention that you are a graduate of Millpark and the sales consultant will waive the admission fee for you. I'm now going to hand over to Marissa Hindland to talk to you about the qualification options you have within the Department of Short-Term Insurance. Marissa is the program coordinator for the Department of Short-Term Insurance within Millpark Education's School of Financial Planning and Insurance. She has a long and illustrious career in the short-term insurance industry, spanning from being a broker, personal and commercial lines, portfolio manager, and senior technical underwriter. She is an associate of the Risk Management Institute of South Africa. Marissa has been with Millpark for 2.5 years and heads the whole of the short-term department. She is the program oversight manager for both the Advanced Certificate in Short-Term Insurance and the BCom with a major and short-term insurance, and she teaches on both of those qualifications also. Marissa, over to you.
Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you so much for everyone that is joining us live. It is an absolute honor to talk to you again, because I'm sure you guys have seen me and have talked to me and interacted with me over your years of the last 2 years of your studies. So we are very excited to have you guys here. So guys, the group that we have here today is our graduates from either graduating from a higher certificate or an advanced certificate. So we're going to delve a little bit deeper into the various options that you guys have available to you guys. So I made you guys a little slide, but we're going to talk you through all the various options that is available now, because I know this looks a little bit intimidating. So guys, if you can then use an example for a student that graduated from a higher certificate in short-term insurance, you have 2 options available to you, okay? You can either go the advanced certificate in short-term insurance route, okay? Or you can go with the BCom with short-term insurance route. Okay. If you are graduating with an advanced certificate in short-term insurance, you can go to the BCom with short-term insurance. And the BCom, however, as with the higher certificate and the advanced certificate, you have two options with regards to your BCom. You can either do it on distance learning, so that is our normal, what you guys are accustomed to, semester-based. Every semester you do 2 or 3 subjects, so that's the normal distance learning. We also have on our BCom an incredible stream that we use, and it is called DLO. So how DLO works, it works in 6 cycles per year. It is very exciting. It is quite intense, but it is so rewarding, and our students do really well on that. So that is then you do 1 module in 8 weeks. Okay, so that is the various options, and we will go into a little bit more depth into either the advanced certificate and the BCom now. So guys, the advanced certificate and some of the reasons to consider doing the advanced certificate compared to the BCom is then the following. The advanced certificate in short-term insurance program is aimed at staff working in all sectors of the industry. And so the advanced certificate with us, it's quite a big leap from the higher certificate in that it goes into the much more technical aspects of all the various components. It also has their own specialized subjects, which we will also go through the slides. Then it is the logical progression from Millpark Higher Certificate in short-term insurance. Okay, and I will, when we get to the accreditations, I will tell you why that is. Then also the program provides an in-depth understanding of the practices in terms of the technical subjects, like I said now, and also the application skills that you will need. Okay. Also to consider in your decision making is then it is a 1-year minimum. So you can complete it in 1 year, whereas obviously a BCom is a little bit longer. So guys, with regards to professional accreditation, I see someone did ask before the session even started about our incredible accreditations that we have on our qualifications. So the accreditations is then 2 for the advanced certificate. So that with the Insurance Institute of South Africa or the IISA, once you have completed your advanced certificate in short-term insurance, you will be eligible to be an associate of the Insurance Institute of South Africa, and you will be able to put IISA at the back of your name and on your signature. You will also be able to do recognition of prior learning with the Chartered Insurance Institute. So that is the international one that is situated in the UK, where they will exempt you from a lot of their modules for their CII diploma. So you need to then complete 2 additional modules with them, and you will get internationally acclaimed diploma and also the designation of DIP CII. Okay. So guys, with the Insurance Institute, they also have their own rules. So you have to be a licentiate for 1 year, you have to be an associate for 1 year, and you have to, and then there's additional things to be a fellow that comes with getting your BCom. So that is something to also keep in mind if the professional accreditation is something that you are aiming towards in your decision making between advanced or BCom. So guys, next we will be looking at the program structure. So the qualification is then 4 compulsory modules and 2 elective modules. So there's 6 altogether. So we will be going through short-term insurance environment, which is, it teaches you about risks. We go into the King 4, and we go a little bit into the economics behind short-term insurance. Then we also have our next step, our risk management 2, which is very interesting. We have our specialist liability insurance, where we cover, can't remember all of them, but it's public, cyber, directors and officers, the whole spectrum of liability insurance. We also have our commercial property and business interruption insurance module. Then you have your electives. So you can choose between motor, reinsurance, management and leadership, and marketing management practices. Please note that you can only choose management and leadership or marketing practices. So you can choose one of those 2 and then either motor or reinsurance, or you can choose motor and reinsurance. Okay, so one of the more commerce modules, or then the full insurance modules. Okay. Then guys, if we go on and look at the BCom with short-term insurance, so this, guys, is then just the kahula, if I can call it that, of our qualifications in the short-term department. And this then aims to provide you with a broad but solid educational foundations in the field of commerce as well as short-term insurance. So guys, one thing that I do want you to notice here is that this is a BCom with short-term insurance, not a BCom in short-term insurance. So guys, this is a full BCom and you merely major in short-term insurance. So this is still a full BCom as well. So it does give you the knowledge base with practical competence and application skills. And I think the best thing that I like is then our final case study module, which I'm always so excited about, that runs in our second semester, where everything just comes together as a whole with regards to your short-term insurance studies. And with regards to timelines, this is then a 3-year minimum. Okay, Tracy will take you through a lot of the exemptions, because obviously you don't have to redo a lot of the modules, but she will discuss that with you guys in a little bit as well. With regards to the professional accreditation for the BCom, it is then accredited with the Insurance Institute of South Africa, where you will then meet the educational requirements to be a fellow of the Insurance Institute, which is then the highest designation that you can get from any institute. So guys, with regards to the structure, you will see here in the columns, you have your year 1, your year 2, and your year 3. So you will see you have a lot of your general BCom modules in here, and you will also see a lot of the modules that you have already completed. And Tracy will then also explain to you exactly which ones can be exempted for the BCom if you decide to go that route. So guys, thank you so much for listening to me. I then hand over to our Senior Program Manager, Tracy Joseph.
Thank you, Marissa. Good morning, everybody. Tracy, I'm the Senior Program Manager, as you've heard. I've been with Millpark for about 7 years. And I'm just here to give you a bit more information about, once you've started with Millpark and you've finished an NQF5, for example, and now you want to move on to your NQF6, I'm going to give you some detail just in terms of what you can be exempted for if you are articulating onto the various other qualifications that we have. So once you move from the higher certificate in short-term insurance to the advanced certificate in short-term insurance, unfortunately, there are no exemptions there. It's just a straight move from an NQF5 qualification to an NQF6. But the good news is, once you move from the NQF6, once you've done your higher certificate in short-term insurance, for instance, and now you say, I want to go on to the BCom qualification with Millpark, then we will be able to give you 3 internal exemptions for the modules you would have done on your higher certificate in short-term insurance. And those would be the personal lines insurance, legal framework, and commercial lines insurance modules. If you have completed your advanced certificate in the short-term insurance, and you now want to move on to the BCom short-term insurance qualification, then we'll be able to give you also three exemptions, and those would be for liability insurance, short-term insurance environment, and either marketing management practice or management and leadership. The last 2 modules I mentioned would be the elective modules that you do on your advanced certificate. It's very important to just be mindful that once you do your admission with Millpark, then the internal exemptions are supposed to be processed. Sometimes there's an omission on our end. Then you're most welcome to follow up with your program manager and say, hey, look, I have now been admitted onto this qualification. Please, can you make sure that you process my internal exemption so that I can move on and I know exactly what I now need to focus on. To Isabel, I see that you've posted a question in the chat about if you're coming from UNISA and you've got your completed BCom. We have an exemption process that you need to follow. So basically, you will make application. You need to be aware of the fact that you can't, if your modules are in certain instances older than 5 years, we won't be able to exempt anything. If they're older than 10 years, for instance, if you've done tax or legal framework, tax needs to be it has to have a 3-year time frame within which you've done it. And if you've done legal framework, it needs to have a 5-year time frame, because otherwise the information is considered to be outdated. Everything else we will then look at. You will send us the application form, will stipulate what you need to send in terms of module outcomes. We then compare what you've done with UNISA, for instance, or your other education provider. We look and we see we must find at least an 80% overlap in the material, and then we'll be able to give you an exemption for the modules that you've already done. It's important to note that in some instances I think it's on the advanced certificate in short-term insurance, you might have done CPBI, commercial property and business interruption. And then when you move on to the BCom, for instance, then there's also commercial property and business interruption. But this is not the same. It is a follow-on. So on advanced certificate, it would have been done on NQF 6. And when you move on to BCom, it is done on NQF 7. And for that reason, we can then not give you an exemption. So even though it's the same module, the information that is covered is not the same. We are merely carrying on, and we assume that you've got the NQF 6 information, and we then just carry on. And the same can be said for the risk management module that you do in the advanced certificate. And I think that's just very important to be aware of, because a lot of times we think it's the same name, it's the same module, so I can. So just be mindful of that when you do make your decisions in terms of what you would like to articulate to and what we can offer you. And then just in terms of what is very important for us is for you, once you decide that, yes, I would like to take up Millpark's offer for the free admission and I want to register with you guys, please be aware of the cutoff dates for our admission and registration processes. On paper, it looks very simple, but once it comes to that process, as now you want to be admitted and you want to register your modules, and there's a cutoff, for instance, for semester 1, the cutoff for admission is the 28th of January, and the cutoff for registration is the 11th of February, and you want to come on for instance, for your registrations on the 10th of February. On our end, we still need to consider the fact that you might need textbooks for modules that you want to register for. So you thinking I'm phoning and I'm ready, and it might take somebody just one day later to them to get back to you. And then you still need to phone the book provider, and then they don't have a book, and it just creates a longer delay, and we don't want that delay. So from your end, I just want to encourage you, if you see the deadline is this day, then try to make contact with us sooner rather than later, because then we can put everything in place to make sure that you get what you want and you get your registration, your admission, everything is processed smoothly. We get to answer any questions that you have before the time, if that makes sense. I think I've covered everything. Oh, wait, I've got one more thing. Just in terms of if you should move on with us, you've studied your higher certificate in short-term insurance, and now you move on to BCom. That will cut off, in essence, half a year from your studies, because in essence, you can do a maximum of 3 modules in a semester. So you would get those 3 exemptions of those that would cut off half a year from your full duration of the BCom qualification. If you had completed your higher certificate in short-term insurance with us, along with your advanced certificate in short-term insurance with us, that in essence will cut off 1 full year off of your qualification, because you would have gotten exemptions for 6 modules. So I hope that's enough incentive for you guys to consider to hop on board and grab our offer. And that's all from me, and I'd like to hand back to Peter now.
Thank you, Tracy. I just want to add to Isabel's question. Isabel, we have a form on our website called the CAT application, Credit Accumulation Transfer Application. And that is the form that you need to complete when you want to get an idea of the modules that you will be exempted for when you go from your UNISA BCom in HR management to our BCom with a major in short-term insurance. I see there are other questions as well, but we'll get to them at the end of the session. For now, I would like to hand you over to Mzwa. He is a sales supervisor based in our offices in Johannesburg. Mzwa has been with Millpark for just over a year now, and he is responsible for a team of student advisors. He will be showing you in more detail the how-to of applying for admission onto your next qualification. Thanks, Mzwa.
Thank you very much, Pietro. Thank you to everyone for joining us today. And of course, it gives me great pleasure to be in front of everyone here, just to make sure that we give enough information when it comes to what it is that you need to do and how to go about in doing it. So I'm just gonna make it easy and share my screen just to make sure that everyone gets the understanding in terms of what it is that they need to do when they come back and join our wonderful institution, which is Millpark Education. So I'll take you through a number of slides just to share with you the registration and the admission process. First things first, just before you get worried, it is okay for you to ask yourself, what is the first thing that I need to do? So we've got a student that is worried and they're not sure what it is that they need to do. So worry not, because the first thing you need to do is to just go on our website. Once you've gone on our website, which is www.millpark.co.za, after you've done that, you will then be in touch with our student advisors. You can contact us on our contact number, which is 086 999 0001. And of course, there you can press 1 for sales. And then you will get to speak to any of our student advisors that are trained and will certainly provide you with the information that you need. Furthermore, once you've gone into our website, so the minute you come back, you're probably going to ask yourself, what are the changes that Millpark has had? Well, we've had quite a few. Part of them is the new website that we've introduced. So the great thing is that our website is quite straightforward and easy to be used by anybody. So within our list of students that we do have, it's quite descriptive there, and you will be able to see which student you belong under. So you will realize in your case, it's going to be returning students, which are students currently with Millpark applying for another different program. And of course, if it's a new student, it's going to be highlighted as somebody new. So you will choose there and then be able to proceed to the next space. So the next spaces after that are kind of self-explanatory, and then you will follow the prompts. All of that information then will be taken through our our student advisors and be able to provide you the information that you need further. So just to outline the process as to how it's going to go. Firstly, you need to check if you do qualify for the admission criteria for that program. Secondly, you then go to our website as indicated. Then after that, the application fee, as Pietro has highlighted, that's the bonus that we've got. And then
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we can't see your screen. Will you just reshare, please?
Sorry, can you not see my screen?
No.
Okay. Sorry, apologies for that. I'm just checking here. Okay, I'm trying to share. Can you see it now?
Yes, there you go. Thank you so much.
Okay, apologies about that, ladies and gentlemen. As I'm going to just proceed to the slides, I was just highlighting that the admission process starts to a point where the student goes to our website, and then you get to be in touch with our student advisors, and then our contact number is also provided there for you to be able to contact our student advisors. And then of course you will select option 1 for sales. And then furthermore, on our website, as I was highlighting before, You will then select the type of student that you are. In your case, if you are returning, you will be selecting under returning students, and then be able to proceed to the next information that is required. Once you've completed that information, then it's going to go through our student advisors, and then they'll be able to assist you with the next phases. Furthermore, just to outline the processes, we did stipulate that once the information has gone through the steps that are highlighted. So if you do visit our website, this is the page that you're going to be seeing that's going to be outlining the steps that you will be following in order for you to process your entire registration. So if I may just proceed from the steps that I had outlined before, after you've visited step 2, which is you going into our website, you're then going to proceed in loading your information and then proceed all the way to step 5, which is registration. But to outline all of that in details, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go into the next slide just for you to understand. So firstly, you will proceed and provide us with your information, and that information will be captured, and then it's going to be processed into another department, which is the processing department. These are one of the key departments we have in our internal systems, ladies and gentlemen, because they assist us in verifying all the details that you've submitted to us. If there are details that are not highly clear, maybe the copies are unclear, we will just communicate this information with you so that we get clear copies and then proceed ahead. And then once the processing team has done with the verification, they will then proceed and push the entire application to the academic team. And then, of course, the program managers, this is now Tracy and the rest of the team that she works with, they are responsible to make sure that they verify also. So this is now another check to make sure that you do qualify for the entire application that you've obviously applied for. And then after that, it gets to be approved and then it's finalized. And then your registration is going to be then finalized after that. You will then receive communication that highlights to you that your registration has been finalized. And then what's great is that within the documentations of what we need, most of you, you already have this information next to yourself, so which is quite easier for us. And one of the positives that we have at Millpark is that we do not want you to certify the documents, so you can just send us the copies of what you have based on the following. So we would need your ID document, the copy of your ID document. If you have changed your surname, we would also require your merit certificate and as well as your matric and other applicable qualifications, your signed admission and signed registration form, as well as your CV if you are obviously going into a postgraduate diploma, as well as the employee letter. If you are a foreign national student, because we do have foreign national students that are studying with us, we do request you to provide us with the study permit, as well as the copy of your passport, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and then furthermore, if you really want to be staying in contact with us, feel free to do so in the following platform that we are giving you. You can contact me directly as a sales supervisor within the advisory team, and you can also visit our website on that website that I've provided to you, and you can send any queries to the student services team, and then also you can contact us on the number that is provided. So from my side, I'd like to say thank you to everyone that has visited us, and of course I'd like to also take back to Pietro and make sure that everyone is given the information they need. Thank you so much. Pietro, over to you.
Thank you, Mzwa. I just have one question for you. The students that are here with us today, they have all completed a qualification with us already. So they would have previously submitted ID documents and matric certificates. Are those still valid, or would we need that a second time? Or is there perhaps an expiration date, like when you do FICA, that every 3 months you need a new copy type of thing?
So because that's a very good question, Pietro. Because those students have provided that information to us, then they do not need to provide that. We could always work and just download that information and use it for the new application.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. So
Thank
for
you so
everybody joining us, because you're already on our system, you're already a student with us, the application process should go fairly smoothly. Also, we know because you have completed a qualification that you meet all the requirements. So there shouldn't be any real checks required on our side. It's just running through the process. I just want to quickly remind you of the dates that we have. So our close of admission is the 28th of January. So that's next week, Friday. And that is for you to be admitted onto the next qualification, be that the advanced certificate or the BCom. And then you have another 2 weeks or so to decide which modules you want to register for the semester. If you rather want to wait until semester 2, close of admission there is only the 1st of July. So there is still some time left. So we're moving on to the last part of our session this morning with our alumni. We've got Josie with us today. Hi, Josie. Nice to see you again. Josie started his insurance career back in 2011 with Hollard through a learnership program where he worked as an underwriter for group personal accident. And then he got promoted to Africa broker consultant position, where he was responsible in giving Hollard African officers, those were in Zambia and Mozambique, for example, technical advice on the GPA product. In 2018, he moved to Hollard Health as Africa sales consultant, where he was also responsible for promoting international health insurance. Last year, he joined Aetna International as a sales executive. Aetna is a company from the United Kingdom and is part of CVS, the largest pharmaceutical company in the United States. At Aetna, he is managing the sales and distribution of global health and is an international health insurance product designed in partnership with Sanlam. The product is sold to corporate and multinational companies in 19 African countries where Sanlam has offices, except for South Africa. So Josie is heading up a very big team with lots of responsibilities, managing 19 different international teams. In terms of his academic history, after completing his learnership program on NQF4 in 2012, he wanted to further his studies, so he immediately registered with Millpark for our higher certificate in short-term insurance on NQF5, which he completed in 2013. As soon as we started offering the BCom with a major in short-term insurance, he returned to Millpark to enroll, and today he has successfully completed his qualification. Josie will be graduating later in the semester, and we are very excited to have him with us today. Thank you, Josie. I know you're a busy man, and we appreciate that you have taken the time to be with us today. So, as I mentioned, you originally completed the higher certificate in short-term insurance with us. Why did you decide to return to Millpark as your preferred education provider? You're still muted, Josie. Let's just give him a while, guys.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there you go.
Thanks, Petra. Firstly, thanks for the opportunity and the invite. Again, thanks to our audience for spending time with us today. So back to your question, just to answer it. Well, I decided to come back to Millpark for this simple reason. Till today, I don't know any institution that is offering a BCom in short-term insurance. So when I heard that Millpark was having and launching this qualification, it was an obvious decision for me to consider at the time, right? The other thing that I considered at the time was that I had a great experience with Millpark back in the days when I was doing my higher certificate. So it made sense for me to come back to this institution instead of going and try other institutions. The other thing that I enjoyed, which I still believe it's applicable today, I believe the student portal, as we have seen from Zandile's presentation, it's friendly to navigate, right? from uploading assignments, even from registration and throughout and allocating other relevant documents. So having a simple student portal to use, which I was already familiar with, it made sense for me to come back to Millpark. Also, since Millpark already had my records, it would be an advantage for me to come back here instead of starting a new institution and applying and submitting documents. So over and above that, I knew that some of my modules from the higher certificate will be credited, like exempted, as Tracy has confirmed that, and that happened to me. So, and seeing that happening without a struggle, it's something that I enjoyed. Lastly, while I was working at Hollard, the Millpark Business School location is closer to Hollard. So I thought if the school is closer to my workplace, then it makes sense for me that after work, I would go attend my classes at the evening there. So those are the things that I've considered for me to go back to Millpark and do my BCom.
So you were still in the, part of your BCom was in the pre-COVID era where you actually still attended class at campus.
Correct.
We've now done away with that. We do not have any contact learning classes anymore. All our classes are done online, and the classes are always recorded. So even if you can't attend because of work or family commitments, then you can watch the classes afterwards. I see Josie's going in and out. There you are again. Josie, I think the majority of the students joining us today have completed the higher certificate in short-term insurance, and they now need to decide whether they want to do the advanced certificate, which is just a one-year qualification on NQF6, or whether they want to jump up to BCom, which is a longer-term commitment, and then at NQF7. Why did you choose the BCom rather than the advanced certificate?
I would like to believe that most of our audience today, majority of our audience members today would agree that they say go big or go home, right? So that's how I saw it. Obviously, the BCom has more value compared to the advance. I wanted to add value to my name, right? And I believe that the BCom would achieve that. So that's why I decided, you know what, let me go straight to the BCom, because either way, if I start with advance, I would eventually want to go to BCom, because as soon as I achieve this goal, obviously as people want to grow, I would set another one. And if I set another one, then that's BCom. So I thought to myself, you know what, let me go straight to BCom and get that done. Secondly, I wanted to have a combination of being compliant and being competent, fully competent, right? So I already had my RE when I enrolled to my BCom, which makes me compliant. But I understood that having BCom would make me fully competent. So having the combination of the two, it was a decision I took upon myself. And lastly, is that if I took the BCom, I already mentioned this, some of the modules were credited, so that reduces the total amount of the total modules that I needed to do, right? So I thought, you know what, this is a good deal that I should go for, and to be as highly qualified as possible as I can be, you know. So those are the things that I had in mind at the time.
Thank you. I think what is important to consider when you decide to do a BCom degree is the time commitment, because it's a minimum of 3 years qualification if you do 3 modules a semester, and can take up to 10 years if you decide to do 1 a semester. How did you stay motivated with this long-term commitment?
Yeah, that's a good question, Petra, right? So there's a few things that helped me. One, obviously, at home I had more support. Special thanks to my wife for supporting me all the time. When things get tough, she was there to say, baby, you gotta finish this. The other thing was to have a good association. I team up with a number of friends that were in the same mindset. I'm thinking of Tabang Magama, one a good friend of mine, Mandla Pagani. So these are the guys that we will all keep encouraging each other to complete what we have started, right? And personally, I also wanted to finish whatever I started, because I can't afford to quit. We all know there's nothing comes out of quitting. So we set a goal, regardless if it's short or it's a long-term goal. We set a goal and we strive to achieve those. The other thing I considered at the time or throughout my journey is that I need to show respect for my craft. I need to be as highly qualified as an insurance professional. That boosts my confidence in my roles. You will notice that already on your introduction, I work with a number of people around the world, from Dubai to UK, and you want to be confident. You want to have that confidence when you're in a meeting, to know that you are as qualified as them, so that when you go to meetings, you don't come there inferior. And that's pretty much what motivated me throughout my journey.
I think it's important what you're saying, to surround yourself with people that will help you forward, and especially when times are tough, they will continue to motivate you. I think all students who study via distance learning go through a period where they feel alone and you feel demotivated and you can't really remember why you decided to do this in the first place. So I think that's a great tip. And I think also, I assume the friends you mentioned didn't also study with us. So it's not like they were fellow students, but they still had your back and they were there to motivate you. So it's about getting the right people behind you. You were very privileged to have those friends, though. You must give them a pat on the back.
Thank you very much.
Tell me, what was your overall experience with Millpark? What did you enjoy most about studying with us?
So, honestly, my personal experience, it has been great, right? But we cannot ignore the fact that things have changed. So I've been with Millpark for quite some time, since 2013, right? And I've seen all these changes, and I understand. It could be because the change of employees, it could be change of in management, whatever the case may be, right? That contributes towards Millpark having its own challenges. But in overall, for me, it was a good experience. I appreciated that when we had challenges, we could approach certain people. For instance, our program managers, they were able to help us. And I would like to give a special thanks, right, to Tracy Jacobs here, who's with us. She was there when I needed help. If I tried to call student services and I wasn't successful and started having these frustrations, I reached out to her and said, listen, please help me. She'll be prompt in assisting us. And that proves the point that program managers play a huge role in our journey throughout in Millpark. So those are the things that I appreciated.
I always say the program managers are the mama bears. They are there to help you, to give you some tough love when you're not studying hard enough, to find a solution when you're feeling sick and demotivated. So yeah, there's always a special shout out to our program managers. Second last question, any tips or recommendations for students who are planning on taking on another qualification?
So firstly, I would say start now, don't wait, because the more you wait, you're not going to start. So start now and never quit, okay? Because things will get tough. It's not easy to balance your responsibilities at home, to balance your work responsibilities, and other challenges that comes with balancing school in the whole arrangement that you may have, right? So sometimes you may fail. Sometimes you may even fail one module more than 2 times. My personal experience, when it comes to reinsurance, I passed this module on my 3rd attempt. And this was the module that was holding me to have completed this qualification earlier, right? But I stayed true to say I wanted to finish this. So I would say, guys, if it gets tough, you don't quit. You push through and then look for help. When it comes to this reinsurance that I'm making an example of, Marisa was a lecturer in this module. We have voiced our concern to say reinsurance proved to be a difficult module. Is there anything that you can do to help us? She prepared recorded videos that she uploaded so that we can understand those particular chapters we thought they were difficult. She invited people that help her in marking the paper so that we can have a different person to help us pass. So again, this proves that these lectures are putting more efforts to making sure that students do pass, and that's one thing that I appreciated, right? And then when it comes to academic tips, I would say pay attention to the exam overviews, because those, if you keep playing them over and over, you will end up picking those tips on which chapters you need to prepare, and then that will help you. It will help you pass. And make sure that you do your best when it comes to your assignments and online tests. If you do well with your formatives, that increases your chance of passing the module. And then I guess the last point I would like to close on as a recommendation, I would say, and this comes back to what my mentor taught me. He said back in the days when there were insurance gurus, insurance was known, right, as a industry of fraudulent, because there were a lot of non-disclosure or non-disclosure through the fine print. But in our days, what I have realized and observed, and this is my personal opinion, when you say I'm in an insurance industry, people automatically think call center, right? They don't know that we have qualifications such as BCom and Shortterm Insurance, that we have a number of classes of business. So I think it's upon us, and I gave that responsibility to myself to study, and I would say let us all as insurance professionals, let's study as high as possible as we can, so that we show respect in our industry, and then people will then in return show respect for us and our insurance industry.
Sure, thank you, Josie. I couldn't have put it any better myself.
Thank you.
Any closing words before you let me go? We are running over time at the moment.
I would say thanks for this opportunity to you and our audience and Millpark for having me to share my experiences, and I'm really humble and grateful, and I thank you all.
Thank you, Josie. We'll leave you to get back to your busy job. Thank you again for joining us today. We are recording the session, so it will be available afterwards if you need to go. I know we are running over time, but I promise that we will answer your questions. So I will now ask Marisa to join me, please, and then just quickly touch on the questions that have been asked. There was a question from Isabel that we have now addressed. Then there's a question from Greg asking, does Millpark still have an arrangement with the CII that will allow us to study for a qualification with them? Yes, Greg, we do. As Marisa explained in her presentation earlier, for both we have an arrangement with them for the advanced certificate and then also for the BCom. Marisa, am I right there?
Unfortunately not, Peter. It's the higher certificate and the advanced certificate.
Those two, okay.
Yes, we are working on the BCom. I need to make a few changes because otherwise it's going to be a little bit insane and hectic for you guys. So I'm aligning my stuff so that it's as easy as possible for you.
Thank you. Then Candace says, after completing your BCom, what's next? Candace, at the moment, the only real option that you have is to do the postgraduate diploma in financial planning, which will then qualify you to become a CFP professional. But we are looking at launching a postgraduate diploma in risk management within the next year or two. So if you're going to be a little bit patient with us, then we will let you know when we have launched that qualification, and that will then be the logical progression for you from the BCom to a postgrad qualification. Then Bjorn asked, can you move on to BCom from NQF 5 or must you first do your NQF 6? No, Bjorn, you can go from 5 to 7. So if you've completed the higher certificate, you can apply for the BCom. It's not that you first have to do the advanced certificate. And then when you apply for the BCom after you've done the higher certificate, you will qualify for 3 modules exemption, as Tracy has explained. And then there was a similar question, can we move on to BCom from 5 or do you first need to do 6? So we've answered that as well. I just want to check if there are any questions in the chat that we might have missed. If you have another question or you think of something, you're welcome to get in touch with one of us or with Mzwa or with one of our sales advisors. We are all here to help you. Or you can just select on the poll at the bottom of your screen, you can select the option that we can get in contact with you afterwards. Melissa, are you aware of any questions we might have missed?
I don't think so. I think you covered all of it, Pichu. If I can just quickly, I know we're over time, but if I can quickly just say, guys, if in your decision making, it's all about time and where you want to go in your career. So guys, if you're in any way unsure, you're welcome to reach out to the program manager as well, and they can forward it to me and we can help you and guide you as far as possible.
So thank you very much, everybody. Just a final reminder of the important due dates. Close of admission is the 28th of January. That's next week, Friday. As Tracy said, please don't leave it to the last day because it takes about 2 or 3 days to get processed. Your admission is for free. It's a special offer to you as a graduate of Millpark. And then close of registration is only in February, on the 11th of February. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a wonderful day and we look forward to seeing you in class soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.